It feels a little weird though.
Six takes is drunk.
It gets to your head better. The heart goes down. Yeah, it feels a little weird, but it's possible. You should try it when you get back home. Yeah, the Finnish comedy called Rare Exports.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's a good film. But I mean, what is funny is that they shot it in Norway at the same time as we were shooting this in Lapland and Finland. I mean, they shot it in Lapland in Norway when we were shooting this in Lapland and Finland. And I don't know, they both did very well in the box office. We beat them. But I think it's what is good about Rare Exports is that it's trying to do something that we haven't seen in Finnish cinema, and it's kind of the same thing with Lapland Artises and Napapiirin Sankarit, that the young directors and young screenwriters and young people in the cinema trying to kind of renew the Finnish cinema, and I appreciate that in Rare Exports a lot.
I have seen Pahat Pojat, and I thought it was kind of funny too. I mean, of course it's tragic in a way, but when I now saw this one, I mean, it's not funny, all through the way. There are some tragic notes in it. Would you call Pahat Pojat a comedy?
Would I call Pahat Pojat a comedy? No, I wouldn't call it a comedy. It's certainly not. It has some elements, funny elements, but it's not a comedy. This is more a comedy than Pahat Pojat is a comedy, for sure.
I think in Finland our life is always such a tragedy. It's even though we try to make a comedy about it will turn out to become a tragedy eventually. So it's, but it's also that it has to do a lot about. Very often as a film maker, you are afraid to be silly. You know, that you to be really silly. So very often you try to put a lot of drama into the films because you're afraid to be just silly as a filmmaker, trying to please the audience more. So because of that, we usually tend to think as filmmakers through drama and through tragedy, even though we're making comedy. So that usually shows in films. There was a question there.
A question about the production design. Even if it's a small scale town and a small place, the people actually dressed quite well. At least the main characters, they were dressing quite wealthy. Is that like a Finnish social thing, or didn't you want to characterize the people, or it looked at least, of course I'm comparing this a bit to Estonia and it's different.
I don't know what the fashion here in Estonia.
Not fashion, but snowboarding jacket, for example, is unreachable for the same scale person in Estonia. That's why I meant.
Well, it was a very cheap snowboarding jacket.
The people that live up in Lapland, they really like the winter is so rough that they actually save a little bit money to actually dress warm.
Even if 50 euros for digibox is not really what they reach, but snowboarding
I think
jacket.
the snowboarding jacket cost 69, I think, because I asked the I asked the wardrobe. I had the same question about the jacket though. I felt about the jacket. I wasn't sure if it's going to look too trendy, but I asked the wardrobe girl how much it cost, and she said something like 69 euros. So I was like, okay, as long as it's not 300 euros, then it's.
No, it's a good question about the production design and the clothes. Janne's jacket, this one, is actually a Ski-Doo jacket that is won from a raffle. The history of the jacket is won from a raffle in a supermarket like a few years ago. And we tried to make really, really real how the people dressed there. And one thing we didn't want to do is put them like these overalls that they actually use a lot. We call fishing, ice fishing overalls, which they use a lot because we didn't want to do that because that's kind of like the cliche stereotype, because they actually do that because it's warm. And they usually get them also, you buy once and then you can use the overalls for 20 years. So we wanted to do it as real as possible. So which is kind of very truth is about Janne, that he'll use the same jeans. You know, there's one pair of jeans, and he'll use the same jeans until they die. And then he, you know, this one jacket that he wins from a raffle in the supermarket, he'll use that, you know, the same clothes. The sweater is knitted by the mother, you know, like these kind of things. But we also wanted to make the difference between the guys, how they dress. Kapu is kind of this guy that, Jasper's character, that could have, you know, go to study to the university. And so his mind is also, you know, thinking more like, you know, being creative about the dressing and trendy about the dressing, even though it's, you know, 69 euros the snowboard jacket, but kind of trying also making the characters as someone is more trendy and someone that's less trendy. But all the pieces of clothes actually are quite cheap, except little Mickey's, of course. He's wearing a 700 euro Canada Goose jacket because it's little Mickey.
And actually, when we were in Lapland, it was surprising to see how people, it sounds like somebody from Helsinki would say, but it was surprising to see how well people dress. And it's all about loose baggy jeans, and it's all about snowboard. Everybody snowboards in Lapland because it's all spotted with ski center or the skiing resorts. So every single person in Lapland basically snowboards, and it's a big culture. And they've got a big culture with like listening to hip hop music and everything. And also that the drug scene, for example, it's something surprising. But there was a documentary made in Finland called Reindeer Spotting. That was a documentary about drug addicts in Lapland, and it's a huge drug addict scene. So these subcultures do exist, and I think it's more common to see somebody that looks like Kapu, my character, than to see somebody that looks like Räisänen or Janne nowadays in Lapland. So basically, if you think about it realistically, Kapu was probably closest to the average Joe in Lapland. But for an audience, I can definitely understand why it looks like he's the farthest from the stereotypical Lapland guy.